Otakuology podcast with Otaku Mike and Jen Graves.
Hello and welcome back to the Otakuology podcast. I am your host, Otaku Mike. With me, as always, is Jen Graves. And today we have a very, very special guest for you. We have one half of a Little Bit Weebish podcast. We have Megan on the podcast with us. How's it going?
Oh man, it's going great. I'm super happy to be here. Thank you so much for, asking me to join. I'm super pumped. This is actually the first podcast where I am the guest. So this is exciting for me. Thank you for having me on.
Really? So this is your first podcast as a podcast guest?
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. My role has been switched and I'm pumped.
Oh, that's awesome. Ooh, yeah. We love those.
Yeah.
So I guess let's get started. Tell us a little bit about your podcast.
Oh, totally. So the Little Bit Weebish podcast, it actually came from kind of an idea where, as a newer anime watcher, I outed myself on social media when my husband actually got me this really awesome Attack on Titan jacket for my birthday. And so I posted on social media, and my friend Sam of over 15 years now messaged me and was like, oh my gosh, is this Attack on Titan? You watch anime? And I was like, yeah, like, thinking like, I've got a couple under my belt now. I had like 5. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, so how many have you watched? Are you into anime? And she's like, oh yeah, I've been watching anime, off and on. Here's what I've seen. And it's like a list of like 20 to 30 anime. And I was like,
oh my gosh.
Whoa. I had no idea that Sam even watched anime. And I realized, I ended up asking her about it. Like, I had no idea that you watched anime, and yet we've been friends for over 15 years. Like, what's the deal with that? And she just was like, I didn't really have anyone to talk with about it. I didn't want to feel weird or, be seen differently. So I kept it under wraps. Like, I didn't tell anyone. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's crazy. And it just kind of kept mulling in my brain, how there are some people out there who are just a little bit weebish. They want to talk about their favorite anime with someone, but they might not have a big friend group, or they might not be, out and crazy about it. And so that's kind of how it started, just with 2 friends talking about our favorite anime and letting people, join us and talk about anime too. So that's where that kind of came from.
Yeah, that once I heard that story, I was like, oh, I know how you feel, like totally for that, because I feel like that is very similar to a lot of other people's stories.
Yes.
Was the fact is like, especially depending on when you watched anime, if it was back in the 90s, 80s, whatever, it was very.
Yeah. You can cut the fat off of that one though and be like, hey, what was your first anime?
I mean, for real though. And, Sam, she got into this before social media, before you could really find anyone.
Oh, yes.
At all. It's so different now. But for me, I put off watching anime for the longest time, and who knows, maybe I made a comment that made Sam go, oh my gosh, I'm never talking to her about this. Because I am a quarter Japanese, and so, again, before social media, it was like as soon as someone either saw my dad, who's clearly a Japanese man, or a school history project where it's like, here's my Japanese side. It was like it sent off an alarm to all the undercover weebs out there. Like, I need to talk to her to see if she watches this. And looking back, I'm like, you know, I have so much sympathy for those people, but because it happens so often, ironically, just in different scenarios, I just thought, man, people who watch anime are weird. I am not going to watch this at all because I learned about Japanese culture through my grandma. And, you know, it came through food, it came through sumo wrestling. Manga and anime was not part of that sharing of heritage. So I put it off for the longest time. But yeah, I have so much sympathy for people who've been at this for so long because, I mean, you are very much alone in the dark in this. And now with social media, it's definitely changing.
That is definitely true. I remember those dark days of getting VHS tapes. And
oh, man.
I spent $40 on this.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, man. That's the good stuff. Awesome. That is great.
I remember I used to go to this store and they would sell fan subs on VHS tapes. And that's how I got my anime.
Oh, man. That is incredible.
Yeah. It was hard to find anime back then.
So true.
But so true. I wanted to lead off with this, but I I need to know what happened in Denmark.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't even remember when I referenced this on my own podcast. Do you know the episode that
I don't remember what the episode was. I think it might have been maybe like y'all's other hobbies, or maybe like it was like a get to know you like mini podcast type of thing.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
I really want to know this question too. So
and this stuck out to me, and I was like, I need to know what happened. You're teasing me with this.
It's probably the most basic thing, but no, on my first and only international trip, I went with a former roommate, and we went to England, London, and Cornwall specifically. If anyone's ever watched Poldark, it's not an anime, but that inspired us to go there. Then we went to Sweden, and then we ended our trip in Denmark, which I love Denmark, but I can never go back, you know, without being super nervous because anxiety. Because when we were going to go to the airport, you know, the announcements are going in the native language, and then eventually they come on in English. And we bought a ticket to go straight to the airport. Well, turns out after waiting like 30 to 40 minutes, the English announcement goes on that there's a delay and that the train that's supposed to take us directly to the airport's been canceled. Oh. So we quickly look up an alternative route, and it happens to be the one that's right in front of us. So without even thinking and buying a new ticket, we hop right on because we're like, this is an emergency. This is like the first flight to get to all our other flights back home, you know? And so anyway, we finally get there. But just as we were going to get off on the airport exit, a police officer or ticket inspector sees us, obviously American, obviously a little frazzled, so we were easy to spot, and, you know, asks us to show our tickets, and sure enough, we gave them, but they were not the right ones, because we just hopped on this train. And so I have to give him my information, all my contact info, who I am, birth date, social, whatever, to get this ticket. And he hands it to me, and he goes to my roommate, and I'm just like, when you go international, you have to get to the airport by at least 3 hours ahead of time, as opposed to domestic, which is 2. And we were already like really under the wire because of this huge delay of the train. So I take my carry-on and my backpack, and I just run through the airport. I get to the check-in desk. There's no one there. And then I go to the kiosk because I'm like, well, at least this will go. It does not go. It will not check us into our flight because we are so delayed that it's just not accepting us. So I'm panicking, I'm freaking out. And then this one airport employee is just like, hello, ma'am, can I help you with anything? And I was like, I cannot get on this plane, but I have to get on this plane. My roommate and I, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm like a ball of anxiety just spewing everywhere. And he just goes, well, let me help you. And he does the VIP like, I must have had the treatment of like a Kardashian or something, where I literally had the VIP treatment of him taking our bags, putting them on a cart, and driving up to security, cutting the line in security, him saying, oh yeah, these people, blah, 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 saying stuff that gets us to the line, gets us checked, then goes to the next section where we go back on the little golf cart, and we just keep going and breezing through every step. And we make it to our plane with 30 minutes to spare. And I was like, this man is amazing. Thank you. Anyway, the series of unfortunate events happened the rest of the trip, but specifically with Denmark, I was so grateful that I got home that I didn't even look at the stuff. Well, then I look at my ticket and the window had passed for me to pay it. And so now I am terrified because I'm like, if I go to Denmark, are they going to put me in jail? Or if I go back to Denmark, will the interest have it accrued so high that like it will bankrupt me as soon as I step foot in Denmark? I don't know how any of this works. So yeah, just to put my mind at ease, I'm not stepping foot in Denmark ever again. And there you have it. That's what happened in Denmark.
You're never going to have to step into Denmark again as Megan. You got to get an alien.
Oh my gosh. I mean, they have my date of birth and my social, so I'm like, okay. If I was a better liar, I probably should have lied. But at the time, I just am like, honest Abe, can't do it. But now in hindsight, I'm like, man, what is happening on their side of, am I going to pay millions of dollars in Denmark money? I don't know. So I'm not going to go there to find out.
I would have never expected that as the story.
Oh, well, feel free to delete it if it's too long or doesn't stick. But yeah, that's the real truth, and now you guys know it.
No, it is staying on.
Oh my gosh, hilarious.
So if I ever go to Denmark, I'm going to have to go to a police station. Hey, do you have Megan on your
do not list? Don't you dare.
Top 10 in Denmark, most wanted.
Oh, I'm sure me and my roommate are definitely 2 of the top 10 people, the criminals of Denmark.
Oh my gosh.
If any of your followers or listeners are from Denmark, I grossly apologize for my error, but also please email in to tell me if I'm okay or not. Like, I need to know.
Right. Let me know if I'm on a list anywhere that you guys know about.
As of right now, I don't think we have any in Denmark, but we are really big in Germany for some reason.
You know what? Wishful thinking. I'm putting it out in the universe that this will happen. It will get to the right people who will know the answer.
Right. We'll have somebody be like, I'm from Denmark. I've listened forever.
Oh, that would be incredible. But yeah, that's what happened in Denmark.
Oh my gosh. No, and I think, just from watching movies and different things like that, I really think a lot of other countries are like, oh, Americans, they're either not going to pay something or whatever. It's fine. Just act like they're from there, do everything else, and then just throw it away, because obviously they're not going to know.
I mean, who knows? I have no clue how it works. And again, like, I passed the window of time to pay it, and so I was like, I don't know what the repercussions are, and I am so terrified that I'm just not going to do anything about it. And this was years ago, so who knows what's happening now.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
Okay, Jen, what's your question?
I'm still stuck on the Denmark things. So.
Okay.
You can go number 2 again.
Fine. So, correct me if I'm wrong. You and your co-host are very big, like, book readers, like novels.
Totally.
Correct.
Yes.
Have y'all checked out the manga adaptations of like the classics, like Anna Green Gables, Dracula, stuff like that?
I literally have the Anne of Green Gables right here on my desk.
Oh, yeah.
Mike, you're a
I
mind
have
reader.
not read it though, but I'm very
Uh,
tempted to get like the Pride and Prejudice volume that happens to be at
uh-huh.
my Barnes and Noble,
Yeah.
because I just love different retellings of classics,
Uh-huh.
especially with Anne of Green Gables, because
Uh-huh.
that was one of, I mean, I guess tons of kids are watching all kinds of stuff on Disney Channel or Nickelodeon or watching anime. I was watching Anne of Green Gables with Megan Fellows. Um, and I have the classic version and now I have the manga version. And so
Yeah.
I think it's so fun and I want to
Yeah.
collect more of them. I think it's super cool.
Yeah. I remember seeing those at the bookstore and I was like, huh, I would never thought that would those would get manga adaptations.
Right. I feel like it's a very niche interest within a very niche interest. And,
Yes.
I'm like, maybe I'm the only person who's picked this up. But
Yeah.
occasionally my Barnes and Noble will surprise me. So
Yeah.
kind of cool.
I've seen like the Scarlet Letter was one of them. I think like the Count of Monte Cristo was one of them
Mhm.
before, and there were so many. And I just wanted to ask if you've read them or not.
Oh yeah. I plan on getting more of them. And Anne of Green Gables was my first. So
Because you're fairly new to manga, correct?
correct. I've gotten a little bit further into it though,
Uh-huh.
compared to Sam.
Uh-huh.
Sam loves all kinds of books to the point where, she's got a lot going on in many directions. But for
Mm-hmm.
me, manga got me out of my reading slump. I was the kid who got grounded from reading. Like, that's how much I read. But college
Oh
ruined
no.
reading for me. So I got in this massive slump until I decided to read manga, and now this is like almost the only thing I read now. It's so great. So I've got a couple under my belt.
What
Maybe
was your
not as
That's
much as
actually
some.
definitely like my story because college ruined it for me too. I was like, I'd pick up a novel trying to read that, and I'd be like, I feel like I'm reading my textbook. I can't read this.
Yes.
So I ended up getting out of that and going hardcore into manga. So everybody's like, oh, what a nerd.
I know, but it's so great, especially when you are a visual person as well. I'm far more of a visual person than I realized
Mhm.
because you know, words that would describe a scene, in traditional book form, in America, it's now replaced with a scene. And I just love that because
Mm,
it's so much more digestible, it's quick, and you really get to the important stuff, which you'd think that would be the opposite, that there are fewer words, but really, I think that manga's awesome for people who don't care about reading or would like to read more, but just can't focus too heavily on a book.
right. Yeah. I have a coworker that thinks that anime is kind of the end all be all. He's like, if there's a manga for it, why would I do that if there's an anime? I can watch that. I'm like, but
Oh
you don't
no.
understand when you read it, you could have like a really big like scene where you have two characters talking to each other and uh it could seem like that conversation takes like an hour, like they're having this really heartfelt conversation. I said, and then you watch an anime and it takes like 5 seconds and you're like, come on, like that's not how it played out in my head. Okay.
Totally, totally. Well, and also there are some scenes in manga that get completely cut out in the anime. Like there, we talk a lot about our love for Noragami, which hopefully
Mhm.
one day we will cover on our podcast. But there are specific scenes that are not touched at all in the anime, and we think the anime is top tier. So when I started reading the manga, I was like, holy crap, Sam, like you need to read this because there are certain things that totally change the situation or add more meaning to XYZ character. Like you get so much more from the manga than the anime that really I think both together make it better, you know?
Sorry, I was texting somebody. I got distracted.
Texting somebody? How could you?
I'm trying,
mister.
I'm trying to buy a piano for my daughter. Okay.
Oh, that's precious. You know what? That's okay. Approved.
You get the pass this time. People won't hear this show for a little while, but when this comes out, let's know if she's got the piano.
I'm trying to make arrangements to pick it up.
How funny would it be for you to have the piano and post it like a picture to Instagram or something? Oh, and then listen to it on the show and be like, that already happened. Mike always likes to get on to me for breaking the illusionary wall. Like we recorded this the day before we put it out. And I'm like, but I can't do that. Like if something cool happened to me last night, I can't like skip over it and not say like it happened last night, you know, XYZ.
Oh man, I feel you there. We have to batch work, you know, because real life, you know, and podcasting with batch working makes it so much easier. And so yeah, I feel you there as well. It's like you almost have to have a calendar to like know when you talked about things and when you need to like talk about it in person. I feel you.
Most definitely, especially with our recording. We have to record. We record like 4 episodes in a day. So and sometimes we lose track about what we talk because we have such little time to record because we both have families and kids, and so we're like, okay, we have a kid-free weekend. Let's podcast right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, well, on that note, going into segueing, and you being of Asian descent, do you actually have anything with like more known characters that are in Japan, like Doraemon or Kitaro, stuff like that?
I wish, but no, I don't. And gosh, like again, this for me, I'm learning more about anime and manga through being part of the community. And it makes me want to, I'm actually going to see my parents later on next month. And I'm going to ask my dad, like, hey, Dad, why didn't we ever talk about this? You know, why was this not something that was a part of our life? Because actually, I had interviewed someone who was also quarter Japanese, but her mom heavily influenced, like, everything that she watched, everything that she loved, you know, and stuff from Japan. That was not my scenario. And yeah, so I wish that I had that influence, but no, I don't. Maybe one day I'll get to change that.
Right. Well, I know there's a Kitaro manga out that you could check out. That's pretty good, but I don't think they've actually had anything really Doraemon come out except for like a few movies. At least over here.
No, there's a game you can buy. There's a
Doraemon game?
Yeah, it's like a farming game.
I couldn't play that. Doraemon annoys the crap out of me. Okay, let's go.
My daughter plays that.
Oh my god.
She's like, look at my horse. How do I make love to my horse? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Make love to your horse? She's like, yeah, I got to get the happiness level. And I'm like,
oh, okay. I was like,
I don't know how to do this.
I don't know about this anymore. What?
What?
Yeah, the horse was sad, apparently. But to getting onto your love, I guess, is it a love or an obsession about Attack on Titan?
Oh man, it is a love-hate right now because of the emotional trauma that has come. It's definitely a love, and honestly, I think that with the trajectory that's happening, I feel like Attack on Titan's going to be one of the greats. Like, it's going to go down as
Really?
one of the greats.
Oh, interesting.
Because it has exploded not just in the anime world, but also in the normie world, you know? Where people who are like, I do not care about anime, but they will watch that and they'll be like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to go down as one of the greats. Just right now, I love it, but I also cry every single episode. And I even cry on my podcast. Recently, Sam also cried. So, like, it's this whole thing, but I love it. I will say the fandom scares me. They're very intense.
Right?
And so there are certain fandoms where I'm like, y'all are scaring me. The Attack on Titan's definitely one of them. They get very heated over the funniest thing. Well, not funny, but the most interesting things. But that aside, I do love Attack on Titan, and I think it's great. Just,
I actually I own season 1 of Attack on Titan, and I've never sat down to watch it.
Wait, what?
I have never watched Attack on Titan.
No.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, no. Okay, well,
But
Megan's going to be like, we have to stop the podcast now.
But I have a question about Attack on Titan.
Okay.
What is a potato girl?
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we're going to go a little bit rambly here because Potato Girl is referenced to one of my favorite characters, Sasha Bros. They go into training, cadet camp, and while their sergeant is screaming at them, he spots Sasha eating a potato, and he's just like, what are you doing? What is that? And she's like, it's a potato, sir. Do you want some? And like breaks off a piece and hands it to him, and it's not even like half, it's a little bit less than half, and she hands it to him. And because of that, he punishes her to make an example of her for disobedience, all that stuff. But it's taken the world by storm to make it, Sasha Bros be Potato Girl. And it's kind of funny because she is obsessed with food. But if you listen to our podcast, you'll know that summation of Sasha drives me nuts.
I have heard that, yes.
Yes. Because for me, and I like to say that if people want like an anime recap mixed with book club where we go a little deeper into parts, they'll totally like our podcast. And we kind of want to make it like a dissertation level of Attack on Titan. But if you listen, you'll know that drives me crazy because, food scarcity when it was introduced to Sasha, it was at a very young age where that would make it more reasonable for Sasha to have such extreme reactions to food and her love of food. Also, I think that Potato Girl, just boiling her down to that, really dismisses all the badassery. Can I say that?
Yeah,
the badassery involved in her character. Like, Mikasa has a special power, and I'm not going to go into that. A lot of the other girls have a special thing about them, but Sasha's told as Potato Girl, when really she is a former hunter. Her hearing is incredible. It saved her scouts multiple times. Her archery and aim has saved her squad several times. So, yeah, Potato Girl bugs me. I understand why people do that because it's funny. And it's a great identifier in cosplay. But yeah, that bothers me. And I ranted. So, the end.
Would you say that does a disservice to the character?
I think so 100% because I feel like it really does overshadow her best qualities. You know, and I joke because I also am a food person. Like, I love it all, you know, and I relate to that part. But more so for me, I think Sasha's just an incredible character to look up to. Um, you know, she is so brave. She is so selfless in a lot of ways. And I think that that gets forgotten a lot because of those little jokes and jabs.
Right.
That's
I
the
I
only
would
thing I
definitely have to agree
know.
with that.
That's the only thing I know about Attack on Titan is there was a potato girl.
Oh man. Well, here's what we're going to do now. You're going to
Okay.
have to watch Attack on Titan and listen to our coverage while we go into it, and then you'll have to be like, you'll have to let us know if you totally see it how we see it, because we go in deep on a lot of characters.
You and Sam are
Yeah.
gonna have to have like an episode dedicated just to Sasha, and at the beginning it would be like, "This is dedicated to Otaku Mike. This is the one episode you need to watch."
Yes, exactly.
Because I've listened to a few of the Attack on Titan episodes y'all have done, and I'm like,
Honored.
I have no idea what they're talking about, but I am thoroughly entertained on this.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much. That actually means a ton. And we try to keep it spoiler free up until like you've watched that episode. We're not trying to like bring back past information into it, and we're just really trying to dive deep into the characters and really understand them. Like, one of the times when my mind was blown was when we talk about why this thing that Levi does seems to be so important, and that's how he seems to take his time to, you know, be with the dead or be with them when they pass if the opportunity presents itself. And Sam did this mind-blowing thing about how it probably ties back to his mother. And I'm not going to say any more than that. But when Sam said that, I was like, holy crap, this was a foundational moment with this character. And again, Levi, he's a character who's seen as, you know, oh my gosh, I love him. He's so hot, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, he is like, you know, he doesn't show emotion very often. He is like a stream going that is raging beneath the surface. And that's how I see Levi. But, you know, you don't really get that in the fandom, but you get it on our podcast where you get a little bit deeper. And, you know, it really makes us more compassionate about certain characters. So
Have y'all gotten to read the side story parts of AOT at all?
not yet, no, because
Like No Regrets. So No Regrets focuses on him really well.
yes, it does.
Yeah, it really adds. But going back to Sasha for a second, the little side one for the girls that they put out, you know, one of them was like from Mikasa. I can't remember the blonde that was the female
Annie?
Titan. Yeah, so she's the other one, and you get like a backstory of that. And I always hated because I got to the end of the second one, and it's like, hey, this is it, and I was like, but I want ones for other people. And you guys make me upset because you stopped at 2.
I know.
Because I wanted one for Sasha, you know.
We really do, because I feel like she gets totally overshadowed, especially by Annie and Mikasa. Because, I mean, if you watch the anime, it will be obvious why. But I feel like Sasha is the most relatable to every person. Like, she doesn't have a special Titan ability. She doesn't have a special lineage ability. She doesn't have any of those things. She is very much just a normal girl who happens to be a badass at life. So, yeah. I could talk about Sasha all day, but that might get boring.
I mean, honestly, like, I've never watched it, honestly, because of the fandom. The fandom, it kind of annoys me.
Oh my gosh. Well, and the bad thing about it is you have characters that you get drawn to, and then people like shit on your character that you like.
Oh
Like
yes.
one of my favorite characters, Armin, and I'm like, and nobody likes to talk about Armin. They're like, well, he's supposed to be there, but technically, like he's like not important to the story. And I'm like, he's super smart, like genius
Who
level.
says that Armin's not important to the story? Are we watching the same anime?
I don't know. I think it's because he's kind of like Sasha, like he gets overshadowed, and then the first time when he's not like a chicken, and you see him kind of as that character that's coming out of his shell, and he's really putting his foot down about stuff. It's like, oh well, it's too late. You know, the moment passed, and I'm like, no,
Oh
the
man.
moment did not
Well,
pass.
oh my gosh. Well, again, I don't want to seem like I'm plugging in my podcast all the time, but it does
Oh, it's
remind
fine. It's fine. You can plug it all you want. It's fine.
Oh my gosh. Well, it reminds me though, because a lot of people say like Armin is a copycat of Erwin. You know, he's like a little Erwin. And it really hit us through our coverage that yes, Erwin and Armin they've obtained the objective of saving the certain person or whatever, you know, usually Aaron. But really, Erwin and his gambles and plans have been at the detriment of almost everyone in its path, whereas Armin, through his own individual brilliance, has done so in a way where almost everyone survives. And I think that that's an incredible differentiation between the two. And to say that Armin's not important, I'm like, are we even watching the same thing?
Right.
And so yeah, I agree. Sometimes the fandom, again, it scares me, but here we are doing it anyway. Um, because yeah, I think that by diving into it as far as we've gone, it's made it so much more of an enriching experience, not superficial at all. And it kind of makes me laugh whenever I see certain skits or whatever about certain characters because I'm like, yeah, we definitely have different views on the characters, and that's okay.
Right.
That's funny. I guess I'll have to dust off my copy and watch it.
You have to, and then you
I
have
mean,
to tell me your thoughts.
remember the one time where you were like, "Hey, you want to cover episode or volume 1 of AOT?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And
Oh yeah,
that hasn't happened yet, so
it hasn't.
I don't know what I'm
yet.
waiting on.
Oh my gosh.
You're waiting on me to read it.
Well, so the other funny thing is, and me and Mike have talked about this many times. So I do like Attack on Titan, but I feel like there are aspects that it takes away from with different things. But I really like Before the Fall. That's the one I like more, which is the prequel to the series.
Interesting. Okay. I have not read that. In fact, I haven't read any of the side stories, but I feel like after we cover, maybe we'll get into that because I genuinely want to know how things have stacked up in my own, like, you know, analysis of the podcast or analysis of the anime and just, you know, how it's changed my own version, like headcanon wise. I'd be very curious how this stacks up with the side stories, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, Before the Fall is actually like the longest one of all of them. Everything else is kind of like 2 to 4 volumes. This one like almost went toe to toe with the regular series for like a long time.
Wow.
And
wild.
and it goes back, like, I think it's really fun reading that series because if you hadn't read part of Attack on Titan before, then you wouldn't know any of the other stuff. Like the first Commander George, like they bring him up, he's actually in it, and you're like, oh, I know this guy. We've talked about him before.
Oh my gosh. Well, now I have to do this. Dang it.
But, well, and then they branch out. So this is the other weird thing, Titan-wise. So, you know, they just see Titans in the regular series as Titans. You know, it doesn't matter. Before they saw them as monsters, so they actually have Titans that you recognize their face. They gave them names and things like that. It's kind of like the well in Pinocchio, you're like, so he's good enough. He got it. He got a name.
Yeah.
That's one of the other
Oh,
aspects of it.
You know what you should also check out. I think it was done by the creator as well. But have y'all checked out the Attack on Avengers,
no.
where it's the Titans go to the Marvel universe?
What? Oh
Oh
my
yeah,
gosh.
and they fight the Avengers.
That sounds incredible. Where is it? Is it like on YouTube or something?
It's
Or
it's like it's a
What's
chapter of
Are you
of
pulling your card out of your wallet right now, Megan? I need this right now. Give it.
it's like a short, like it's a short story that he wrote.
oh, okay.
I'm not for sure where you can find it. It was I think it was part of like a free comic book day type of thing.
Oh man.
Probably. I bet you
Okay,
can
Yeah.
well,
Google
if
them
you
right now.
find it, send it to me. So, because I have a list of like 10 people in my mind who would like eat this up as well.
Yeah. That just popped in my head because y'all were talking about like spin-offs and stuff.
Yeah, there are a
But
lot for it.
but to talk about another series, I think it was you who mentioned it, but Full Metal Alchemist? Maybe it was you. I can't remember.
um, uh, what in what context? Because I love Full
So
Metal.
one of y'all said that to skip the original and watch Brotherhood.
Oh, yes, skip Full Metal Alchemist because it does not follow the manga. Um, but watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood because that does follow the manga. And Full
We
Metal
need to
Alchemist
talk.
Brotherhood came
Did you
as a
say we
result.
need to talk?
We need to talk.
What?
We need to
Oh no!
talk.
Am I wrong? Oh no!
Is this an exchange of war stories now? I feel like
It-
it is.
Don't
Oh no!
skip
I'm nervous.
Full Metal Alchemist.
Okay. Well,
It's just as good as Brotherhood.
okay. Fair. I will say though, I have never watched Full Metal Alchemist because I watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood first and I fell in love with it. It was one of my all-time, it's probably one of my all-time favorites. And I was like, well, I just want so much more. So I'm just gonna, watch Full Metal Alchemist. And the
I'm
first episode, it was so different that I just was like, I can't.
I'm always dismayed that people are like, you gotta just watch Brotherhood. But we had this one series before that came before that's so good and it's so revered, but yet people wanna not watch it and just toss it to the side.
Well,
It
then
may it hurts. It hurts me.
oh my gosh. Well, then
It
I
hurts me
apologize
because
for the
it's one of
amount
my
of hurt that I
favorites.
gave you.
I,
Oh
I
my-
love I love both Full Metal Alchemist equally. Like they're both good shows.
wow, that's a tall or tall claim to make. Have you read the manga?
I have, and um, I read the first Full Metal volume, and I was like, well, I just I already know what happens.
Oh my goodness. And after our manga talk, where we said that sometimes there are differentiators. Well, to be fair, so far what I've read, it is the same.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the exact same as Brotherhood.
Yeah, to be
There's no
fair.
departure. Yeah, totally. Like I feel like there are small yet big differences between the two.
Yes.
For Brotherhood and Full Metal Alchemist, like the endings are completely different. Like
Oh no.
towards the end, they end up going to like Germany.
Oh my gosh. Well, then this stacks up because recently my husband and we watched Fullmetal Alchemist Conquest of Shambhala or something.
Yes,
It's a
that's the
movie.
ending.
Yes, and we were so confused. We were like, did we miss something? But I guess it's to continue off of Fullmetal Alchemist, not Brotherhood.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
ending of Fullmetal Alchemist. That's
Oh.
that movie.
You
And then
ruined the
there
movie
is-
for yourself, Megan.
Huh?
You ruined the movie for yourself.
I really did. We had no
Now you're gonna go
clue.
back and watch it and be like, "Oh, well, this is what the
So
movie."
if you want to watch a continuation of Brotherhood, you can check out the OVAs that came out for that.
Okay.
Which
Cool.
did get released over here. I don't know if they're hard to find or if they're streaming anywhere, which the OVAs are pretty good. The OVAs for the first series aren't good. Just don't watch those. And then you have the Sacred Star of Milos, which is a side story movie to Brotherhood,
Oh, okay.
which is
Can
not
you
it's not
tell This
bad.
is one of Mike's favorites.
It's not bad, but it's very much like a Shonen Jump type of this is a movie that happens within the universe type of situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You know, I can hear it now. Megan's saying, Mike, you know, if you watch AOT, you can get on the ball with that one. Then I'll do FMA.
You know what? Yeah, that is exactly what I'm saying.
Perfect trade-off.
Fine. Okay, fine. I'll do it. I'm just saying there were certain parts in Fullmetal Alchemist that hit me harder than it hit in Brotherhood, like the whole Shao Tucker Nina Tucker scenario.
Are you telling me that I'm gonna cry harder in Fullmetal Alchemist?
Oh yes,
you will
cry.
No.
You will, because in Brotherhood, they kind of gloss over it a little bit. It goes by fast. In Fullmetal Alchemist, they linger on it.
Oh my gosh. Well, guess what? In Brotherhood, it made me sob like a baby, and Shao Tucker is the biggest villain in Fullmetal Alchemist. Anyone can fight me on this.
The death of Mace Hughes.
Oh, that's
Don't
even
bring
worse.
that up.
Yes.
Oh no. Okay, well,
when you hear why is Daddy not waking up?
No.
I hate you right now.
You will cry.
I hate you right now, Mike.
No. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Okay, well, I will watch FMA if you watch AOT.
Okay, fine.
Okay, we are verbally shaking on this.
Okay, we'll do that. I'll cover Attack on Titan on the podcast.
Nice. Yes. I would
Jen,
be excited to hear your thoughts.
I need you to go watch season 1 right now, Jen. Just go watch it. You know,
I already know what happens in season 1.
Just go rewatch it.
I don't have to. I know. Now we got to find something that me and Megan can virtually handshake on, so she can do before the fall, and I can do something else. I don't know.
Oh yeah, we gotta figure that one out between us. Interesting.
Of course, I feel like I would probably go more with like Sam because like I'm all over the place.
You know what? That's fair. We'll do it that way. Sam will have to come back on, and through the discussion, I'm sure you guys will land on something to verbally handshake over.
We can just have both of y'all back. It'll be fine, you know.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Let's see. Where my phone I lost my question. Oh,
What about your Harry Potter question?
Oh yeah, so y'all are Harry Potter nerds as well, correct?
Totally the biggest.
My wife is as well. She has a Harry Potter shrine in our living room at the moment.
Okay, what's her house?
Gryffindor.
Oh my gosh, same as my husband.
But I'm a Hufflepuff.
Kindred spirit, love it.
Hufflepuff for life.
Do you know what
Sam
like is?
The Hufflepuff is like the special ed of the Harry Potter universe. A little bit.
No, the Hufflepuff is the greatest.
I feel like that's how people treat it as.
Oh,
like
they totally do, or they'll treat us like we're feral animals that need a buddy. Yeah, Sam is a Ravenclaw, which totally stacks
me
up
and
in my.
Sam are Ravenclaws.
Oh my gosh,
That's
you
good.
both are kindred spirits then.
Oh my gosh. You know what this just made me think about?
What?
Maybe you and Sam are the female equivalent to me and Mike.
You know what? It's appearing to be that way.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh.
What the heck?
But yeah, okay, so but with Hufflepuffs, I will fight anyone who says that we're just the giveaway house or we're the dumb house, because in the Battle of Hogwarts, Gryffindors are showboaty, they're proud, they go in guns blazing into everything, okay? And a lot of people, not everyone stayed. But you know who did stay? It was the Hufflepuffs. They all stayed because they are loyal and true and didn't back down. So there you go.
So you
Hey,
hear it.
I also
Hufflepuff's the best.
feel like a Hufflepuff would be the person that most foodies are under. So they'd probably kill off all the other houses because it'd be like, man, this chicken tastes funny. Dead.
But
All the Hufflepuffs just killed everybody off.
My question for you is, do you think a Harry Potter anime would work, and who would you get to animate it?
Oh my gosh, I would love a Harry Potter anime adaptation, because there were so many things left out in the movies that I'm like, if there's ever a reboot, it has to be a TV series.
Mhm.
But I'm also like, ooh, an anime would be fun, because it would just make the special effects out of this world. So I actually have thought about this, where because I feel like I've really gotten into this where I'm trying to understand, and there's certain frames and images that can only go into an anime, and frames, the more it is, the more it costs. And so sometimes CGI is involved to like cut those costs. So I'm like, well, I imagine with all these special effects, they're going to have a lot of CGI implemented into it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've thought, whose CGI doesn't bother me? Like, that's kind of the guiding principle, because I know that right now Mappa seems like it would be an obvious choice.
Mm-hmm.
And while I love the improvement done in the part 2 of their animation, I don't like Mappa's style at all.
Mm.
And I don't think that their CGI is executed as well as others. I think I'll have to go with the people who do Sword Art Online. And I know that Sword Art Online, it's either like you love it or it's kind of a joke. But
they did have really good animation.
Yes, I recently watched the latest season on Netflix, because sometimes I just am like, I don't really care for the video game world reality shows, but for some reason Sword Art Online just has me. And the latest season, the special effects were the most mind-blowing I have ever seen. Like, they were incredible. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if this was a Patronus, or if this was like some sort of battle against Voldemort, that would be epic beyond reason. So I think I'm gonna have to go with that one, or something similar to that, because it has to prioritize special effects and CGI. And I feel like, because Sam and I also talked about this, where it depends. Do we want it to be moody and dark? Who does that well? Do we want it to be more like light and bright? But I think I'm going to have to go with whoever does Sword Art Online, because I feel like they do a really good mix of that.
That would be cool.
Wait, I'm trying to look at mine. Production IG. That would be mine.
What do they do?
So they did like Ghost in the Shell.
So do you like Star Wars?
That's the one thing that they did. Oh, they did the Star Wars Visions, one of those on there.
Yeah. Do you like Star Wars at all?
That would be Sam. Hardcore.
So, and I only know because I have pre-recorded episodes that haven't come out yet. Spoiler for anybody out there listening. But I covered the Star Wars Visions, and they actually they had a bunch of different studios go into it and make an episode per each one of these things. So it's like 9 different studios. And you can also
Wow.
watch the little side thing where they go behind the scenes and they talk to the producers of each studio and how they wanted to play it out, what they wanted to incorporate into it. And so one of them, the one that I was looking at for production IG, I liked their style as one of the best ones. So it's really cool getting to go through and watch each one of these individual episodes and how they break out. The style's different, how it's laid out is different, and how everybody came into it with an idea to set up their own Star Wars episode.
Mm-hmm. That sounds super
So,
interesting.
oh yeah, number 2 I think is my favorite. It's actually a rock and roll Star Wars one.
Nice. You'll
It
have
is
to
probably the best.
send that video or the recording when it does come out to Sam, because I'm sure I would be shocked if she hasn't watched it already. So she is the Star Wars gal for sure.
That's cool. So how do y'all create y'all's podcasts? Like, how do y'all brainstorm ideas for your podcasts? Like,
Well, with our Attack on Titan coverage, it's pretty easy. We wanted it to be, again, kind of like a kind of like an anime recap, because there's so many recap podcasts where it's like you got some for The Bachelor, you've got some for Real Housewives of XYZ. So those recap kind of episodes exist, but we wanted to go deeper than just saying, here's what happened. And so usually in a book club, there's a sort of theme or trend involved. And so we kind of go along with that. But we have realized that the way we are currently covering, oh my gosh, we'll have covered Attack on Titan for a year, and it's almost misleading to make people think that, like, yeah, by the time we wrap this up, at least with the part 2, I think we're going to be close to our anniversary of the podcast.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's kind of funny because I'm like, we're not necessarily an Attack on Titan podcast, but it definitely appears that way. So we actually will be trying to brainstorm how we want to do our podcast, how we want to do our anime coverage in the future. So we are kind of brainstorming a little bit. But with our mini weebs, I don't know. We just made a running list of every kind of possibility that we thought would be fun. And then when we have time for it, we just go for it. And
I have to say those are some of my favorite episodes are the mini weeb episodes, because I feel like it's a very like relaxed kind of podcast. You just put it on and listen, and
yes.
you guys are in my ear while I work.
Nice.
I listen to y'all and I laugh, and sometimes I scream and I'm like, no, that's wrong.
Oh no, well, what's been wrong?
I'm like Fullmetal Alchemist. No.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Well, yeah, I mean, I love the mini weebs as well because I feel like it makes us a little more human, a little less one-sided.
Yeah.
Hey, we're Attack on Titan people. No, we are not. We are just, 2 friends who happen to be talking about Attack on Titan, but also love a lot of different anime and a lot of different manga,
Yeah. Yeah, it was just they're just fun to listen to. I'm only on like episode 5, like the Attack on Titan one.
Oh, nice. Well, yeah, you can't spoil yourself too much. You have to like watch the episodes, otherwise.
I'll listen while I watch.
Nice, yes.
We'll do that. Yeah.
Try to listen to it at the same time.
Yeah, like a commentary track.
Oh man, that sounds so like exclusive and VIP. Like,
Yeah.
how cool.
You could be like a commentary track, you know?
Hey, join our Patreon. Join our Patreon and get the exclusive commentary track. Play it while you watch the episodes.
Oh my
Now,
gosh.
this is my last question, but it's not really pertaining towards you exactly,
Mm-hmm.
but more towards your co-host.
Okay, we'll see if I can do it, and if not, we'll have to have
Wait,
her back
is this
on.
the one that I told you that I marked out?
I don't know. I'm not
Because
for
there
sure.
was one question in the bundle, like the top half that you sent me, like I sent Megan so she would know kind of what questions were gonna be asked.
I need
And
to
it's like-
know. I need to know what's with the J. Michael Tatum obsession.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Sam will have to tell you her side of this for sure because that love runs deep and long.
Because I've met Sir J. Michael Tatum.
What?
Yes.
No way. Oh my gosh.
He
What?
yes, because he lives in Texas and I live in Texas.
Otaku Mike, do not tease me with this. How was this? Was this? Oh my gosh.
He was very nice.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well for me, I love J. Michael Tatum because he has voiced some of the most incredible characters. I love Kami-sama Kiss, and him playing Tomoe is just like the perfect person. Same with Erwin, and they both have incredible range. Like both of those characters don't have very much overlap in personality. And yet he just delivers every time. And I don't know what it is, but every anime that I happen to love, he is somehow on it. And so I think that that's just why. And yet it's also so distinct too that it just makes me happy every time I recognize him. So
yeah, Texas is a big hub for anime voice actors.
It's so funny that okay, here's what's hilarious is because Sam flew. I'm in Oklahoma. I'm about now I live probably 3.5 hours away from Dallas, and so Sam flew.
He lives in McKinney, Texas.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well Sam,
you're supposed to rat this guy out, Mike.
You'll have to like bleep that out or something. But we drove down to Dallas, Fort Worth, and we just like hung out.
Yeah.
And then we were like, let's try to find the Funimation studio. And we looked on every single Google search, couldn't really find it at all because it's in Flower Mound, supposedly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as we were driving all over Texas, we were like, especially as we thought we were getting closer to the Funimation headquarters, we're like, oh my gosh, what if we just happened to run into J. Michael Tatum? And Sam was like, I will have a complete and total fangirl moment. I will not be prepared. And so, yeah, and it's also one of our dreams to have him like on the podcast, but that'll have to come.
Y'all should message him.
Oh my gosh. This is very much like a meet your
to,
heroes thing.
I keep trying to get Mike. Mike went to school with a voice actor. I keep trying to get him to get her on.
Oh man, time to drop some names. Who is this person?
Do you know Tia Ballard?
Why does that sound familiar? Who did she voice?
She did Happy in Fairy Tale. She was Happy.
No way.
And she was the I can't remember what the character's name was, but she was the panda bear in Brotherhood.
No way.
Yes.
Oh,
and she's been in other stuff as well.
Okay, you have to have her on.
We went to school together. We were like acquaintances. Like I didn't like know her too well, but I knew her. Like we kind of ran in the same circles.
That is so cool. That is so cool. I feel like through 6 degrees of separation, I am also that much closer to J. Michael Tatum. So thank you for that.
I mean, honestly, I feel like if you messaged him, he would probably come on because he's one of the nicest people you could talk to. You know.
Oh my gosh, I'm
I just gotta
internally
tell you
freaking out.
something. Then if he's so nice, then why hasn't he come on our podcast yet?
Because nobody's asked him, okay?
You're digging yourself a hole, mister.
You know, it's really hard to ask people to come onto your podcast because you don't want that rejection.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Yeah, because
so I kind of stepped in it a little bit when I logged in before we started, but then you and I messaged a little bit yesterday. So what roles do you feel like between you and Sam that y'all play out in the dynamic duo?
Oh man. Well, logistically, Sam does the audio, I do the social media. So if anyone ever DMs me, most likely you're talking to me. But oh man, in terms of dynamics, I don't know. It's like if anyone's ever listened to My Favorite Murder, I feel like we are very much a slightly more serious version of Karen and Georgia. And also PG-13 in terms of our language. But we're just like two friends who both just feed off of each other's energy. I don't know. I feel like this is one where someone would have to tell me what they think. And then
I kind of feel that way too when I listen to the podcast. I think that, you know, y'all have a very good
well, and it just made me think about it because, you know, you brought it up the other week when you were like, just like you did now about talking about the fear of rejection. I'm like, I'll ask motherfuckers all day. You know, I got like 20 spots open that I asked and covered it in 5 minutes, and then you're like, oh, I can't do it. Not can I do it in an hour? Can we like retry? You know, like gosh. Giving a cat a bath or something. That's what I feel like with Mike. I can't ask this person yet.
It's like asking somebody out on a date almost, and then just getting rejected.
Totally. I can see that. Yes. I feel like I would have to be the person to be like, yep, we're going to trailblaze forward and I'm going to have to ask this person. Maybe that's right. Maybe that's wrong. But I 100% feel like if we ever wanted to talk to J. Michael Tatum, I'd have to be the one to potentially be rejected. Sam, I don't think Sam could handle that.
I mean, he used to have his own podcast.
What now?
He used to have a podcast. I don't know if it's still available anymore, but he had one.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna have to search because
it was him awesome. And somebody else just talking about anime and working in the anime industry.
That's incredible. I'm gonna have to find that. Called.
But I used to listen to it.
That would be so interesting.
Oh my god, I'm such a dick.
Why?
Hold on. I'm texting it to you, but I'm gonna have to send it through Instagram to Megan.
What?
Hold on.
I'm curious.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna have to find this podcast now because I would be.
I'm super ballsy, okay?
He just asked J. Michael Tatum for an interview.
Oh my gosh, no! I mean, yes, but no!
See, well, now, when you ask him, he'll be like, there's a lot of people asking me, maybe I should do this.
You know what? I'm going to think of you asking before us as the first pancake. You know, that theory.
That's the first pancake?
Yeah.
You could just.
I mean, who knows? I'm sure he's been asked so many times that he's had many, many, many a pancake. But because I know that this just happened, you're going to be the metaphorical first pancake.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I feel like this is. Am I going to be this person on Instagram now? You're going to be like, so I know you've heard about Tato Girl, but have you heard of the first pancake?
Oh my gosh.
And everybody would be like, what are you talking about? Jen Graves. He's the first pancake.
Oh my gosh. so funny.
Then I'll get tagged by everybody as the first pancake. I'll be like, oh god, now I'm gonna have an origin
You're
story
not
of.
afraid to slide into people's DMs, you know?
I'm not, and we just did it, and I was like, we were just talking about it, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do it.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
No fear of rejection. I mean,
well, you'll have to tell me how this goes. If he flat out says no or yes, either way, you have to tell me.
I'm gonna be like, Megan, I was rejected.
Oh my gosh, too funny.
I'll be like, hey bud, I'll come see you in Texas so we can actually do this in person.
Oh my gosh, that would be incredible. Oh my
Do
gosh.
we need to go on a lunch date, mister? We can.
That would be so fun.
I don't know. Like, for me, like, asking people... Okay, so, backstory. So, I got to meet Johnny Young Bosch in person. And that was, like, my pinnacle of meeting people. You know, he voices, like, Ichigo Kurosaki and Lelouch Lampelouche from Code Geass and some other ones. Like, he plays a lot of different people.
Wow.
And I got to meet him in person, and it was just kind of like, it wasn't that cool. So that, and then I worked for a bar for a little while that we actually had like the All American Rejects come in and different people like that. So I got to meet these people, and it kind of took the, oh my gosh, you know, out of it, and kind of made everybody more human. So now whenever I talk to somebody, I'm like, well, you're just another human being I'm trying to find things out about and talk to. And
interesting.
That's how you get the first pancake title.
You know what? I guess if you just keep having those interactions, then it's no big deal. I have never gotten to that stage. The closest I ever got was working for the guitarist, what's his face, Valentine in Maroon 5. I worked for his mom. So that's the closest I ever got. And yeah. So I've never gotten past that stage.
Well, it's just funny for me because, like, instead of like people that are big names that everybody knows, like having people like you or Weeb Family on or somebody like that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I had those people on my podcast. So it's totally if it's a celebrity status, it's like, I don't care. But if it's like somebody that it's like, hey, I could go to lunch with this person, hell yeah.
Oh, that is awesome. Ah! Okay, you have to tell me how this goes. Either way, I need to know. I'm invested now.
So what's the future look like for a Little Bit Weebish podcast in the upcoming year?
Oh man, well, I'm super excited for what's coming up. We've talked about a lot of the different anime that we want to cover. And it's so funny because we thought Attack on Titan would be over and done, but now we have something to look forward to in 2023. But I think we're going to be changing up how we present our anime coverage. I think we're going to try to brainstorm ways to make us go through it faster, so we don't cover one anime for a year. And we're going to have a different variety. I think we're going to try to have a mix of, those deeper conversation kind of animes like Fullmetal Alchemist, Brotherhood, and Noragami, but also maybe some more lighthearted ones, get a good mix. And yeah, we're definitely in the planning stages of what's coming up.
Yeah,
so
Angel
awesome.
Beats. I'm trying to talk Mike into watching Angel Beats right now.
I hate that show.
I hate that show.
Attack on Titan comes first. Whatever happens.
Yes, Attack on Titan comes first. Okay.
Not all the time.
I gotta go dust it off. It's in my closet right now, just waiting to be watched.
Okay, well, as soon as you start watching Attack on Titan, I will watch Fullmetal Alchemist.
Will I cry?
Are you
I mean, I've
on
cried.
Attack on Titan?
Will it be like a deep cry, like emotional, like when Nina died?
I did my heavier cries later on in the season. I don't
Okay.
recall crying in season 1.
Okay.
So you're safe, I think.
Okay. Good.
I feel like that one movie I told you about, Always Be My Maybe. You'll be like Keanu Reeves in that one when he finds out that he's listening to the lamb that he's eating right now of when it was alive, and he lets out that.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It's
hilarious.
so funny.
But yeah, plug your podcast. Tell people where they can find you, and I guess we can wrap it up now, unless Jen doesn't have any more questions to ask. Because I'm out of questions.
I don't. Well, I do,
Okay.
but I don't.
Okay.
If I was at it, we would be at it.
We'll have to have a part 2.
Oh, totally. We would love to join in. But yeah, if anyone wants to join us on Little Bit Weebish, you can find us wherever you really listen to any podcasts. We're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, we're also on a ton of different things. So wherever you listen, just try to search for us and most likely you'll find us. We're also on Instagram and TikTok at the handles Little Bit Weebish. And that's WEEBISH. And yeah, join us. I feel like we have a good time over there.
So
we will put all your links in our description for your podcast.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
So people can find y'all.
I do have one side question for you. So, was this as bad as you thought that it was going to be? Because I know you had a little bit of anxiety about coming on. You're like, oh.
You know what? I was so nervous because, again, this was my first podcast interview. And I was going to go solo. I was like, oh no, my little security blanket co-host isn't going to be with me. But no, it was actually great. And you guys are awesome. So thank you so much for, asking me to come on. And again, if you want me and Sam, both of us together, or just Sam, we're totally game for it. So thank you guys.
We'll bring you both back on. We'll bring you both back on.
We're going to have to bring you back on, after we cover Attack on Titan, season 1, book 1, whatever. We're going to have you back on anyway, just through your experience of FMA and Mike's experience of AOT. So.
Oh, man.
This podcast can't be worse than our interview we did for another podcast. The guy who was hosting the podcast fell asleep.
What?
While we were talking. Or his co-host fell asleep on him, yes.
What?
And you could hear.
So funny thing
Are you serious?
Funny thing is, I don't know if y'all can hear it right now because my brother's washer is broken, so he had to come over to my house to use mine. And I can hear him snoring really, really loud. So I'm surprised no one was like, "Hey, do you hear that too?"
Yeah. Are you awake? Did you fall asleep? That is hilarious. And I obviously know why you wouldn't want to say the name of this podcast, but you definitely have to DM me the name of this podcast because I'm so curious. I love drama.
You can't hear it because they cut it out in their episode. So it's a weird cut.
It's funny as hell because you hear all of us bring it up at one point, the other 3 people. And you go, hey, you hear that snoring? And it's there's no snoring, but
they still edited it and published it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, now you have to tell me. Oh my gosh.
I told Mike, I said, Mike, if I ever fall asleep on a podcast, please just leave it in. It'll be a hilarious joke. Because if you edit it out, everybody will be like, why did you even bring it up? That doesn't make any sense.
They're friends of ours who started a podcast, and it was it was really interesting. It's something I would never expected to experience.
Yeah. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Oh man. I'm living for this now. I will be on
Okay,
pins and needles.
I'll have to send it to you. I'll try to find the TikTok and send you the TikTok
Oh, perfect.
because they put it on
that has the
TikTok
snoring
to
part
where
in it.
where it has the snoring part in it. It's like
Did they say
it's funny.
why? Like, was someone just ultra tired? Are they, you know?
I don't. He played it off like he wasn't sleeping.
Oh my
Well, he was sleeping.
god.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, yeah, I'm so glad that didn't happen to any of us. This was. I'm so glad that wasn't what happened at all.
Right.
Yeah, but I want to say thank you for coming on. This was a lot of fun to talk to you and to pick your brain about podcasting, Attack on Titan,
About
potatoes, Denmark. But this was a lot of fun.
Oh, yes, this was a seriously great time. So thanks again for having me.
Yeah, most definitely. Do you want to send us off, Jen?
Yeah. Well,
Right.
anybody out there listening, as always, you know how we like to end our shows. So let's just end it in the usual way. And we will see you next Tuesday. Bye.